You've been listening to the Voices of Faith Transforming the Community with the Saginaw African American Pastors on KISS 107.1. The views and opinions expressed on this show by the host, its guests, or call ins do not necessarily represent the opinion of this station, the staff, its owners, Connoisseur Media, or its advertisers.
For what is that? That's your.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Voices of Faith Transforming the Community. The mission of the Saginaw African American Pastors, known as SAP, in the greater Saginaw County region, is that we are a Christian faith group dedicated to addressing racial, social, and economic justice at all levels of community with faith, strength, and boldness in order to ensure that racial equality is the experience of all citizens in Saginaw County. We engage, advocate, collaborate, engage in international conversation with leaders and decision makers at the highest level of every critical sector of the community to address and correct racial injustice. We advocate for systematic changes in eliminate bias and prejudice toward the black community in every sectors of the community, especially policing, employment, banking, and housing. We collaborate with community and faith-based organizations, agencies, and entities that we seek to eliminate racial injustice in Saginaw County by taking concrete steps toward racial equality. Good afternoon again. My name is Dr. Marcella Sunday, and I serve as a member of the Saginaw African American Pastors, and I am the pastor of Spiritual Macedonia Baptist Church at 641 North 4th Avenue. I don't have a guest today. I have a co worker. I mean, we're co-working this today. And I'm not calling him a guest either. Who I have today is Dr. Craig Tatum, the pastor of New Life Baptist Missionary Baptist Church right here in the city of Saginaw. Pastor Tatum, take it from there.
Well, again, thank you, Dr. Sunday. I'm honored to be back here and again see a good friend Matthew and thank again Kiss 107 for this privilege, this opportunity. It's an honor to be back to share, to have conversation as we do, with the whole intention being to transform lives and make our city a better place.
And we're not here to do a question and answer type program. Dr. Tatum and I, we're gonna sit here. We're gonna dialogue. Saturday, I had the opportunity to go over to his groundbreaking. If can I say it, mission in the city?
Yes, sir.
I can say mission in the city, a park,
Hmm.
and that park has bloomed from the last time I've seen it from over last year. And we're going to talk about how mission in the park is. We're going to talk about what it's all about. It's a lot of people think mission in the park. When you go look at it, you're going to think it's a kids park, but I think it's a little bit deeper than that because we're talking about how we're going to transform or help transform the community. We're
Hmm.
going beyond the sanctuary.
Hmm.
And at this time, I'm going to let Dr. Tatum talk a little bit more about it.
Well, again, thank you, Dr. Sunday. June the 6th, we did our ribbon cutting for the Dr. Rufus Bradley Senior Mission in the City Memorial Welcome Center. Um, it's a dream come true for the New Life family and the Mission in the City Board and the surrounding citizens. We've Dr. Bradley started this process nearly 15 plus years ago. I mean, started with a dream. He wanted to impact lives in this community, and in his mind, he wanted to build a gymnasium or build a church, and God said, "No, build a park." So when he built that park, God provided almost an entire block where there were dilapidated houses, drug houses, you name it. And God bless that he could purchase those. And then he got some community partners that came together with funding, and the park came into existence. And so I was privileged back in 2018, after being gone nearly 20 years, 20 plus years, to come back home to serve as shepherd leader for a New Life, where I was a youth pastor years ago to now become the pastor and then become the CEO for Mission in the City. So, Mission in the City is really about trying to impact and transform lives. The tagline is that, we transform people, one person, one household, one block at a time. That's what we've always tried to do. The park is a great place. In our community, we don't have a recreational program, and parks are so critical to the life of any community. A well-used park creates positive activity. When families get together, when seniors come together, community groups get together, it naturally discourages criminal activity. When people come together in a safe space where you've got elders and children, it's almost like a neighborhood. And that's what we try to present with the park now. The Welcome Center, which has restrooms, a concession stand, and office space. When you look at everything that we offer, quarter-mile walking track, life-size chess court. We just introduced a new flag football field. We've got racquetball, volleyball, a Jenga court, and then we've got a pavilion and other things. The goal behind the whole park is to say to the community, you deserve this. We don't consider it anything very unique because this is what we grew up in. And so therefore for us, what we're really saying is we're just creating what we were accustomed to as a kid. So that's why the park is there.
I thank you for that quick introduction. When I thought about this park, the first time I went into the park, I think about it a little bit different now.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at the park and I kept asking myself, at our church, we believe in going beyond the sanctuary,
Mm-hmm.
and we go out into communities, and I think we are a little bit different. We do it a little bit different than you.
Right.
You got a park where people got a safe zone, and it's safe for families.
Mm-hmm.
I think with a lot of things that's happening in the city, and not just this city, but everywhere, where kids don't have a conscience.
Right.
They don't, and at home, parents need to start giving their children a conscience.
Absolutely.
And I'm only saying this because I'm a pastor, and I have to throw this in.
Mm-hmm.
Children need a conscience, and I think when I looked at this park, I asked myself, how is this family friendly? Let me see the whole family in this park. And it's like a lot of times I come on a show, I'm talking to somebody in an organization or a
Mm-hmm.
group. See, I look at community and I look at churches going into the community because 21 years I worked for Head Start.
Wow.
And I worked for families who live on and below the poverty guideline. And it became locked in. And little did I know that God was using me for this. I was growing up as a child. I was growing up through churches. And every church I went in, evangelism was their purpose.
I got you.
And before we came here, we was in North Carolina. And the church was surrounded, I'm going to say, by the hood.
Okay.
And people didn't get out. We had 1,200 members there. And people
Wow.
didn't really get out into the community that surrounded them.
Mm-hmm.
Then we moved to Texas, and we were put on the evangelism team, back out there talking to people.
Gotcha.
So when I talk to people or other pastors and stuff, what are you doing in the community? How are you helping the people? What are you doing for the people?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went over there to the ribbon cutting at the park, I was because I kind of sit to the back, and I was just looking at the park, and I was listening, and I said, I can see it. I can see where he's reaching out for the community.
Yes, sir.
I normally don't do that, but I'm critiquing.
I got you.
Critiquing.
That's
critiquing.
all right.
I was looking to say, how the community going to be impacted by this? We always say it takes a village, or we used to say it takes a village to raise a child.
Right.
And I saw a village in that park.
There you go.
And I could, like you were saying, you were seeing families coming out there, the elderly, the young, and, so you're building a village. And I think all of us, as we all the churches, we're not the same.
Right.
The pastors are not the same.
Correct.
We all have, God has given us a mission, and the mission is not the same.
Correct.
But when we come together, we're the same. We're the same. We have that same mission in mind. And I was sitting back looking at the park and watching people walk and looking at people walking around, the kids doing this, and I could listen to some of the things that people were saying in the park. And I said, you know what? I can see a family. I can see families.
There you
I
go.
can see it now.
There you go.
And that's something we need to, this community need to come together and see. When you got pastors out there doing certain things,
Mhm.
you got to see it.
Mhm.
And I think we gonna have to do a better. We got to message better.
I got you.
We have to message better, because parents need to see this. We can get that village back.
I totally agree. And one of the things that's unique about parks, and this is what I've discovered, parks, number one, parks promote health. That's first and foremost. When that park was initially birthed, it was considered a fitness park by Dr. Bradley, because the goal was, at that time, he wanted people to come in the park with the whole idea of getting in shape. You know, Michigan and Saginaw in particular struggles with obesity. We're in the top 5 in obesity in the state of Michigan, and that's challenging. And so the park gives people access to free exercise. It gives people access to walking sports and really just outdoor recreation. Most kids today, it's astonishing, and I know you know this, particularly ever since COVID. We generate somewhere between 5 and 10,000 people that grace that park during the summer. But those numbers have changed. Why? Because there's a huge void now, because children are more caught up into technology now. A lot of kids aren't coming outside. And so we're trying to reroute kids now. We're trying to reset that mindset. So we know that parks promote health. We know that parks support youth development. When kids are out there playing, that park is 15 years violence free. So it just shows the level of respect that people have for the park. It's well kept. It's in a very challenging area, but people respect the park because it's a safe haven. It's a place where families can come. It strengthens families. We've had family reunions and graduations and birthday parties. So it's a very unique place in the heart of the city itself. But it also builds what I consider, Dr. Sunday, builds community pride. Because people can say, look at this here. Look at what we have in our area.
Mhm.
With the addition of the concession stand and restrooms and all the other things, it's just, and the flag football field, which we just added, it's one more dimension that makes people feel proud. And that's really what we want in a time and era where, life is challenging. But we really want people to know you're welcome here. This is a no judgment zone. Bring your family in. We got a reading piece there. You can sit and read as your children play. We got games, we got checkers, hopscotch, you name it, because we want people to come in and just enjoy themselves. And that's really what parks are all about. They really improve mental health, being able to get out and exercise and work off some steam and become competitive and all those things. So that park is a jewel in our city. And I'm just glad to be a part of it. And I'm glad, based on what you're saying, that the mission behind it is being accomplished.
And I like I said, I sat there and I looked at it, and I could realize, I could see that we can reach families. You can reach families in that
Yes,
park.
sir.
And
Yes,
that's
sir.
what we have to do, because sometimes we have to reach out there and reach the family, because there are a lot of families who don't know exactly how to instill thoughts in their children and from a young age up. And I was looking at that park. I said, wow, this would be a good place to kind of talk to families and stuff. And especially the families in that community, in that area, so that they have ownership. I'm a strong believer in that. It takes a village to raise a child.
Yes, sir.
So in that park, people can get to know each other.
There you go.
They can get, I know John next door. I know Susie down the street. If my child act up, Susie gonna call and tell me. John gonna tell me.
There you go.
They may say something to my child, and I'm not offended by it. I'm not coming up there to attack them, because we're a village right now. We all have each other. We know each other. I walk with this person. I've seen this person 100 times in the neighborhood.
There you go.
But I've never spoke to him. I've never talked to him.
Gotcha.
And that park is inviting.
And one of the things that I think Saginaw needs to hear, which is what I'm sure you endorse as well, one of the greatest investments we can make in Saginaw, in my opinion, is investing in our young people. And every positive space that we create for youth itself becomes an alternative to the streets. It becomes an opportunity for growth. It comes an opportunity for development. And the more parks that we can have, I'm sure you grew up that way. Maybe Matthew grew up that way. I know I did. I mean, there were parks every place.
It was.
And in our community, again, years ago, the recreation department disappeared due to financial issues and other things. And so now, you have to ask the question, what can we do more of? We've got to create those spaces. We've got to invest. And so with obesity and chronic disease rates higher than state averages in our community, creating safe spaces for recreation ultimately isn't just a quality of life issue. It's really a public health strategy. The more places we have for kids to gather, that's safe, where kids can exercise and just let their hair down and be kids, the more we can decrease, instances of violence, instances of crime and things of that nature. That's really what we want to do.
And I can see that too. How open is the park?
The park is pretty much open. We open up June 1st. We're normally open until, I want to say, October, right around October 15th, maybe. We're open pretty much every day. We open up at 7:30 every morning, with the exception of Sunday. So Saturday or Monday through Saturday, we open up at 7:30. We right now we're redeveloping the hours because we're trying to figure out how to input now the concession stand. But right now we're open 7 to 1:30, 7:30 to 1:30. We then reopen at 5 and we shut down at 7:30. What we're looking for right now is to try to have it open from 7:30 to 7:30. The challenge is volunteers. And any volunteer person says, well, I want to help out. Well, that's great. We just for security purposes and insurance purposes, anybody that works in the park has to undergo a background check to make sure that, again, we have no issues there. But I have personally, Dr. Sunday, if I've seen kids come around after 1 o'clock and they have nothing to do, I'll take my computer and my work and just go over in the park and open it just so they can play. Because my whole philosophy is I'd rather have you in a safe place playing than just out there in the streets wandering around. So I've done that so many times, and other people have. Where, like I said, it's open to anyone. Now, if a person wants to reserve it for like a birthday party or something, there might be some fees for that, because there again, we volunteer for everything, but there's got to be cleanup and you got to set up all the toys and all the other things there. But beyond that, the park is open to anybody.
Okay, because I think a lot of people would want to know that.
They can, Doc Sunday, they can get there. We got a 1/4 mile walking track, so they can walk around the track and exercise. We've got shuffleboard, we've got chess there. Like I said, we got flag football. We've got a life-size checkerboard. We've got pickleball. We've got volleyball. We've got board games. Right now, what we're trying to do is get we call it a fitness pad. It's a station of about 9 to 10 weightlifting things, so a person can then work out there. We're applying for grants to try to make that happen right now. We're just trying to create a place where there's something for everyone to do. There's a kids play area. There's a children's play area. There's a bookmobile there. If nothing else, you can just sit there in the park and just enjoy the breeze that comes. And that's what a lot of people do. They just sit sometimes and just watch other people have fun.
And Dr. Tatum, that's what I was seeing a lot of that when I was sitting there, because like I said, we believe in going beyond the sanctuary. We want the community. We do it in different areas.
Yes.
Because I'm a veteran, so I work with Vets Court.
Gotcha.
I do a lot of work with the Vets Court, and I can see the outcomes. See, I love outcomes. I measure outcomes, and we have in the Vets Court program, we're in the community. We're looking for vets. We're looking for vets who people don't quite understand why is he on drugs, why is he drinking, why is he we they go through the court system. We've set up now, so when vets go through the court system, we go down in the court system where they're getting ready to be sentenced, take the sentence,
Mm-hmm.
and then now we have our own veterans court upstairs. So they come up there, 18-month program. And I want to bring on one day some of the outcomes and let you hear from those veterans who they thought their life was gone. 5 years, facing 5 years in prison, 10
Right.
years in prison. Now 18 months, I'm free.
There you go.
Know, and that's what I look at, and I say a lot about the pastors in the community.
Mm-hmm.
We do things, we don't do everything the same way.
Right.
We don't preach the same way.
Correct.
But we are all tied in if we care about our community.
There you go.
See, now that the park is open, and I can, if someone come to me and they they ain't got, they bored, don't have anything to do. I've had people we talk to say, do you have a church home?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't have a church home.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing come out of my mouth, why? Why don't you have a church home?
Right.
And if I know what everybody's doing in our community, what every pastor is doing,
Mm-hmm.
I can say, we don't have that here, but you can go there.
There you go.
And I don't think a lot of pastors go for that, but that's how we grew. That's how we grew.
And I think, Doc Sunday, at the end of the day, we talk about Saginaw African American pastors. We're talking about a collaboration of pastors with different experiences from different backgrounds and different expertise who've made it their business that we're going to make Saginaw a better place. And that's really what our game plan is, through education and finances and housing and health. Those are kind of like the 4 or 5 areas that we focus on. But our real goal at the end of the day is to get the news out there. Saginaw is a great place. It has great people. I believe that. I'm investing my energy into doing that. And so that's why I believe what we offer there on the corner of 7th and James, that park. But then we've got, a garden across the street that feeds 100 families plus every year. And so, we just kind of go from there.
Right. Hey, we're going to get ready to take a pause for the calls, and we'll be right back. So stay tuned. Hey, welcome back. We are back. Dr. Craig Tatum and myself, we're back to sort of continue the program. We're going to talk more about mission in the city, the park, some of the other things that it has to offer or what it could offer to our community. Dr. Tatum, you want to speak on that?
Yeah. So, again, one of the things that I really love about the park is we have this pavilion. Pavilion seats about 100 people. It's where we have had graduation parties, birthday parties. It's what we call a speaking atmosphere, because we've had people use it to have conversations. We've had people use it to do trainings. Everybody from breastfeeding to foster kid after school programs. The park has been used for so many different things down through the years. And one of the things that I think is very critical in any park environment is having parents present. Matter of fact, it's one of the most important factors to me in creating a healthy and safe community, or a healthy and safe community environment. So, I've discovered, Doc Sunday, that when parents are present, the park becomes safer. That's number one. I believe that their presence provides natural oversight that discourages, again, inappropriate behavior and promotes accountability. Do we have kids that come in the park that sometimes their language is a little bit out of order? Of course we do. And kids will test the limits. I mean, we get that. But I've discovered that the more parents we have in the park, kids have a sense of accountability and respect. So for me, I think it's very important to have parents there. Um, the park, we wrote a grant a while back because we felt like we could use the park as a place where we can train parents on becoming more effective parents
Amen.
while their kids are playing. So we talked about doing a mentoring program for young African American males. We talked about a program called Cooking in the Park. The funding for those didn't pan out, but the concepts are still there. We want to be able to mentor young kids. We want to be able to mentor rather young females. We've got a couple programs that's going to happen in August and in July. Queen BQ and Bro BQ, which is designed to bring African American males together and African American females. That's being brought by a community resident that's doing some other phenomenal things in the park or in the community. The real goal behind the park is just to be a hub where people can come and enjoy and be safe. That's really the goal. And if you grow there, if you mature there, if you have fun there, doesn't mean you may not get any bumps and scrapes, because you do when you play in the park. But by the same token, and so last night, for example, there was a young girl and she's saying, well, they won't play with me. They won't play with me. So, we went over to talk with the young girls who were a little bit older than her and said, listen, we need you to be an example for this young girl.
Amen.
So they went over and started playing with this young girl. That made that young girl's day, because these older girls who she wanted to be took time out to play. So there was some development there. And that's really what the park is about, helping people to grow.
And I totally agree with you, Dr. Tatum. Um, our church is a lot family oriented.
Mm-hmm.
I think I sent you a picture. We baptized the
Yes,
whole
sir.
family
Phenomenal.
in the river.
That was phenomenal.
We took them to the river and baptized the whole family.
Excellent.
And then we took them down to Frankenmuth afterwards. We spent the night down there. We let them just walk around Frankenmuth. They had their own room. They just, the kids got up the next morning and we was teaching them how to swim. The father and I, we was teaching the kids how to swim.
Excellent.
Family is important.
Of course it is.
And when I was working in Head Start, and they started a fatherhood initiative. I think there's federal money out there for a fatherhood initiative. And I did that. I even got with that experience for the Army. I was gotten out of the Army at home, and they had a job for a social service assistant. That's how I ended up in Texas. And one day I was talking to this general, over the battalion, and he was saying, we were talking about men coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, committing suicide, getting divorces, and they couldn't figure out why. I said, but that's the Army's fault. I said, because when that man went off to war, y'all were the woman took care of the wife took care of the home, and the kids were moving on, next grade, this and that. So he came home thinking he's supposed to walk in and take over.
Wow.
And he couldn't fill that role. So that's why a lot of that was happening. And I think when you mentioned about having a program for young men and stuff like that, that would be a great program, because there are a lot of young men don't know how to be a dad. They don't know how to be a father. And then a lot of mothers, I hate that term when they say baby daddy.
Right.
Because they don't understand what a lot of the men's going through. And I was thinking that park might be a good opening for that, because you get these young guys out here that got babies. You get them out there shooting basketball, or looking at these other kids trying to play flag football, and they getting out there putting their 2 cents worth in there. Eventually you can change the lives of a lot of those young men.
Absolutely.
They'll listen to you. They will.
Kareem Bourne is and a group called The Help is doing a phenomenal program now.
Excellent.
Which I think is really targeted at young African American males. And my whole process about that is I'm grateful and I'm willing to support that any way I can. You can never have enough programs. There are young white males that are struggling. There are young Hispanic males that are struggling. There are young Asian males that are struggling. And so you can never have too many programs. We need more. And there need to be safe spaces where they can evolve. So the school system, businesses in our community, law enforcement, health agencies should be collectively pooling together resources to create those environments. When we don't do that, we become so divided and so many kids get lost in the shuffle. So, wouldn't it be grand if city government and churches and healthcare agencies and school systems and all the other businesses, Chamber of Commerce, said, we're going to put together X number of dollars and we're going to create these recreational programs that's going to transform lives. If we could do that, that sends a message to our kids, that sends a message to our parents, because that money will be used to not only give kids a safe recreational space where they can grow and thrive, but you could do parenting programs. You could do programs on budgeting your finances. You could do programs on eating healthy. There's so many things you can do if we could get them to do that. Until they do that, people like you and myself and Kiss 107 that does a good job with various programs, we have to continue to be the voice crying in the wilderness. We have to work together. And when you can't get someone to work with you, you just have to push forward. You said that countless times where, okay, I'm out there, I'm doing this. And sometimes you have to just go it alone until somebody sees and embraces and go forward. And that's kind of what we do at the park. We know that pastors are busy, but we always invite, say, hey, if you want to come over with your membership, if you want to help volunteer, if you want to come over do a 3-on-3, Bishop Campbell does that. He does a lot of programs. Pastor Pryor does some. Pastor Coleman has been engaged in some things. And there are others out there. And so I salute everybody that's trying to do some very productive things, because the more programs we have, the more opportunities we give kids to get off the street. And that's really what we want. If we can get kids off the street and if we can train their parents, then we can transform our community.
And that's very well said. I volunteer down at Merrill Park Elementary School.
Okay.
I love.
That's where you're teaching chess or something, right?
We're gonna start the chess thing up.
Okay.
At the beginning of the year now, because I let the kids get away before school was out.
Okay.
But when I coach basketball, I don't just coach basketball. I coach consequences. We coach discipline.
There you go.
You can go down to Merrill Park right now, and if you say something to a young man, he's gonna say yes, sir.
There you go.
He's gonna say no, sir. And to a female, he say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
We got a program down there now where the kids tell each other, "I'm my brother's keeper."
There you
So
go.
if you see another kid acting up, you go up to him and say, "I'm my brother's keeper." He knows to stop. I got that going through the school, even with the teachers. When a kid is not paying attention in school, I thought you was one of my brother's keepers, and they stop. On my basketball team 2 years ago, I think I had 4 kids that had to be let go of the team because I told them, you're not doing. We can't have this. Your there's consequences for your action. Last year, I didn't lose any.
Excellent.
And I usually try to take the same kids up. I finally got my son involved in it. He's down there helping out flag football, coaching. He wants to get in the school system now.
Wow.
So, but because he knows, just like everybody else that knows me, kids are important. 30 years with Boy Scouts, 20-some years with the Knights of Pythagoras. That's in my Masonic organization. I believe in programs like that, scouting, the Knights of Pythagoras. I believe in recreational basketball. It gives me the opportunity to work with parents.
Excellent.
We had a banquet this past year with our basketball team. We lost in the second round, but we had my wife put together a big banquet at IHOP because it's free. They got a free banquet room.
Wow.
And we had the parents there, and it's the first time we ever gave a parent certificate of appreciation. She like to fainted when her name was called because we never did that before. So
I think, Dr. Sunday, you and I agree that, and again, I'll to be redundant, if you will, the more programs we have, the more we decrease kids' chance for getting into mischief and inappropriate behavior. Are there a lot of parents out there that are looking for help and support systems? Of course there are. Yes. We know they exist. We parent some of them. We preach to them. They're some of our members. There are a lot of kids out there that just want somebody to give them a sense of structure and direction. You've done that. I do that. And so the real premise behind everything we do is just to make our community better. Our school system could be better. If businesses would create jobs, so goes jobs, so go the community. Um, if businesses abandon and walk away, then what do our kids have to hope for? And there are jobs here, but we've got to make sure kids understand their worth, their purpose, and then help them find out why they exist in our community. So I agree with everything that you're saying. And like I said, I commend every pastor, I commend every parent that has volunteered to say, I'm going to take up a group of kids and do Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. We've done that at the park. Like I said, we got a life-size chessboard. We want people to use it because chess is not just about a game, it's about life. Helping people to understand that every choice you make, you need to be thinking about, if I do this, what happens? And so those are the things that ultimately we want to push people to understand. We need more young mentors that we can train. There's a lot of young males out there that would welcome an opportunity to be a mentor to another kid. But we've got to find them. Where are they now? Are they out there in the streets? Of course they are. But they need people like us and those of you that are listening to this broadcast to be willing to invest in them. When kids don't get an investment from productive, positive kids or citizens, they'll find somebody that will invest in them negatively. And that's where they change paths. And that's where we have the challenges.
And I love that chess thing. I'm gonna bring some kids over there and challenge y'all one day. But I teach chess as consequences.
Okay.
And,
yes, sir.
Every move you make has consequences.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it is in life.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you do in life has a consequence, negative or positive.
Yes,
it's up
sir.
to you how you get it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we teach chess. It's a consequence.
Yes,
Why
sir.
did you make that move right there? Do you know I had a knight sitting over there waiting on you?
Uh-huh.
Did you look around before you make that move? That's giving kids a conscience.
Yes, sir.
We have to give them a conscience. Kids grow up, they need a conscience. In today's society, and I say this, people are moving further away from God,
Mm-hmm.
depending on man and technology,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have a conscience. That's why they're so quick to do the things they do, because I'm not going to say every child that you could be raised in the church, they could be parents done did their best they can do with their child.
Right.
And he's still going to mess up, or she's still going to mess up.
Right.
And proof of it's in the Bible.
Yeah.
The prodigal son.
But that's why Dr. Sunday, having a village in my neighborhood, I lived on 14th Street, which is 7 blocks from where I pastor now. But in my neighborhood, and you said it earlier, everybody on our block was our parent.
That's it.
Everybody across the street was our parent. And they could speak and we listened because we were taught respect. We're in a situation now where a lot of the neighborhoods around where I pastor now, a lot of them are rent based, which means that the people don't have any real investment.
Right.
But Mr. Campbell and Mr. Brooks and Mr. Mims and Mr. Smith and Mr. Griffin, those are all fathers whose kids we played with, who could look at us, didn't have to say anything. They could just look. And that look told you something by itself. Our mothers at that time, they could correct us, and they kept our kids safe. They could correct behavior of kids they didn't even know, because that was the respect that we had. Can we get back there? I'm hoping and praying that we can. And that means that there's got to be a conscious shift in our mindset about law and accountability and things like that. I think those are all things that we have to try to get people back to try to make a difference. And I think that's what you're saying just as well.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, you can ask any one of my children right now. They would tell you can't go nowhere unless somebody know daddy. You can't go nowhere. My son, he used to be this basketball superstar in high school. He loves to dress. His shoes, his headbands, all that stuff has to match.
Gotcha.
And they weren't allowed to wear headbands in school. And he saw one of the teachers out there walking down the hall, and he did like this, tried to flip it off. And I got the call 2 or 3 minutes later. Antonio walking down the hall with a headband on. He come home. What you doing with that headband? And I told you, Mr. Hauser. One of my daughters, when she got her license, she had to park her car where his homeroom was. This teacher's homeroom.
Right.
And if it wasn't parked, my son, so and so is Angela at school. I don't see her car. That was a village.
Gotcha.
You couldn't go nowhere, do nothing. You have to build your own village.
There you go.
And it's important today that parents has to build. They said, well, people not like that now. They don't want to say nothing to people's children. They don't want. Build you a village. Find somebody you trust. Somebody.
And I think, Doc Sunday, I want to throw in there with that, because I think that's so critical when you say you got to build your own village. The bottom line is, even in challenging times, and we are in challenging times on every level, but with everything, you have to be intentional. And I say that a lot in our church, that everything that we've done in the park itself was intentional. We created those spaces. We've given them thoughts. We thought about why it was needed, why it should do what it's intended. Everything is intentional. I like that phrase about creating your own base of people. You got to be intentional. People are busy now. And so what we ultimately have to do is we have to intentionally find people that, from this perspective, that I can invest in and that they can invest in me. The Bible says iron sharpens iron. And so for us, you have to intentionally find people that will hold you accountable.
That's it.
You have to find people that will hold your kids accountable. And even if your parenting skills are not the greatest, you need to intentionally have people in your life that can help you become successful.
That's exactly
all right.
right.
We tell kids at our church all the time, when you start school in September, everybody starts with a 4.0.
Yes.
All right. It's up to you now to maintain that for the year. Then we say to them during Bible study, if you're struggling in math, we will intentionally find somebody that can help you with math. So while your mom's in Bible study getting that training, we'll have somebody to help you with that. If you're struggling with finances, if you're struggling with other issues, we will create those things, because we want to be viewed as a one-stop shop type of situation where everything you need, we have it there. And I think that's what parents should always do.
You're absolutely right. And there are a lot of churches that does that.
Uh-huh.
But see, parents, people today, they look at a church with blinders on.
Right.
Is that a good way to say it? Tunnel focus.
Yes, sir.
There are a lot of churches we're out there. We're trying to help families grow. But I keep looking and I keep saying we have to give our children a conscience.
Yes, sir.
They need a conscience. I keep saying it over and over. There ain't no guarantee, but when they get ready to do something that's not right, at least to think about it.
Right.
You got to give them a conscience to think about, why am I carrying this gun?
There you go.
Why is this man over here trying to tell me something and I'm talking back to him? What he's saying is not bad, but kids don't have a conscience now.
And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're so caught up in peer pressure. Kids have been duped into believing that to be successful, to be popular, to be appreciated, to be viewed as a big man on campus or a big fish in a small pond, you've got to smoke, you've got to do drugs, you've got to do these things. And that's quite the contrary. What we really want kids to understand is, when you're in school, your main focus should be on schoolwork. If you want to do athletics, that's fine. Once you get to that point where you understand that, you can perfect that. Every kid is not going to college.
No.
There are going to be some kids that's going to have trades, go to trade schools, and that's all well and good, because there are very good paying jobs in our community. What we ultimately have to help people understand is that every child's not going to be successful, not at the collegiate level. So our job as parents, aunts, uncles, brothers, friends, is to encourage them to go to trade school, to find a job. And even if you start at the bottom, if you're faithful, if you're there on time, if you got good work ethics, good mindset, you can move up the ladder. And that's what we want kids to learn.
Well, we're almost out of time now. So let me pause and thank Apple Media, KISS 107.1, and this platform. I want to thank our engineer too, Matthew. Matthew Lester, he's been with us.
There you go. He's the man.
He's made room for us. So we want to thank him for it. Again, I am Dr. Marcella Sunday, member of the Saginaw African American Pastors. I reside at Spiritual Macedonia Baptist Church at 641 North 4th Avenue. Join us sometime and then come in and help when you can. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Voices of Faith Transforming the Community with the Saginaw African American Pastors on KISS 107.1. The views and opinions expressed on this show by the host, its guests, or call-ins do not necessarily represent the opinion of this station, the staff, its owners, Connoisseur Media,